Hi, everyone. This is Anand Karasi, your host today. And thanks for joining the webinar on the topic, the 4 steps to get candidates to respond to you. Um, so we will go through a few slides, introductory slides to set up the stage. And then at the end of it, if we have time, we will go through a demo. There is a chat option that you have on the webinar on the right side. Feel free to post questions, and I will pause in between to address any questions you have. So before we start, just logistics. If you could just chat in the chat message, mention that you can see the slide and you can hear me, that'll be great. Just put in the message if you can hear me. Okay, wonderful, great. So let me just start with the agenda for today. We'll just go over the background of two things: artificial intelligence and sales techniques. This is what are the core of the 4 steps. The first part is more technical. It is how do we leverage technology to do some of the hard work for us. And then the second part is the sales techniques, which is what do we as recruiters need to do to get the candidates to respond to us, and what are the lessons we can take from sales, enterprise sales, and apply them to get the candidates to respond. So it's a combination of technology and human touch that we will be covering, and that is the core of the 4 steps. And of course, we'll go through the 4 steps, and then we'll see the practical implementation of these 4 steps, so we can actually make it work for you. A little bit about myself. My name Anand Karasi. I'm the founder of Search and Recruit. I'm a technical person by background. I graduated from MIT and IIT. I like playing with data. Call myself the data scientist, but I've also been trained as a rocket scientist. But I spent the last 10 years understanding sales by selling. So I was in a sales role for Salesforce.com and Autonomy, which is now HP, and a few other companies. So mixed background from technology across to sales. And what we are doing at Search and Recruit is bringing the best of technology and sales techniques into the recruiting space, so we can convince some of the great candidates to come and take up some of the exciting opportunities that we have to offer to them. At a high level, recruiting pipeline, you probably know this. Step 1 is mapping the job and creating a set of candidates that we want to engage. So that's the sourcing function. Part 2 of that is contacting the candidate and getting them to come and attend the interview. That is where most of the grunt work is, and we will be covering in the 4 steps. And after that is the interview and the interview process and the offer and hiring, which is not the scope of our discussion today. So our goal is to reduce the time to fill a position by optimizing the sourcing function. And the way we optimize the sourcing function is finding great candidates and convincing them to respond to us and eventually take up and attend the interviews. So why is it important? Because we're a bunch of data scientists. We had to do this poll. So we polled a few recruiters and asked them how important is it to find great candidates and get them lined up for interviews. I know it looks like an obvious question, but we had to do this to see if it is an important metric. Is it number in the top three? How important is it? And not necessarily the most important metric, but it is definitely in the top three. At least 80% of the recruiters we interviewed said it is one of the top three things for them. And then we went to work, and we said, okay, how can we use artificial intelligence to help solve this problem? How can we get technology to get more great candidates to come and attend interviews, right? So a brief introduction, what is artificial intelligence? I mean, there is a lot of terminology out there, but it's very simple definition is it's a machine that is learning. It is learning all the time. That is in a nutshell what artificial intelligence is. You may have come across it. 1997, Garry Kasparov, the top chess player, got defeated by a machine because the Deep Blue from IBM, it learned how to play chess. It is learning. It knows the chess moves. Not too far in the future, we will see automatic driven cars. Google is working on them, so is Tesla and Uber and everybody else. So we will have driverless cars or self-driven cars very soon. And of course, Google, we use it every day. It is learning what people are searching for, what people like when they search and find the results. And from that, it figures out what's the best results to present. And it is one of the top companies. So that happened in 2009. So this concept of machine learning and helping us has been there, and it is only getting better. Now the question is, if machines can learn and do all of these things, why can't they find the best candidate for my job? So what we did was we took 300 million resumes with an average of 20 years of experience on each one of them. That roughly translates to about 1 billion jobs across the world, 6 billion man years of experience, and spanning about 20 million businesses. And then we've looked at the global, national, local economies at over the last 20 years, or actually the last 40 years, and combined all of this to figure out why do people change jobs, when do they change jobs, what triggers them to change jobs. And with 6 billion man years of data, of experience data, is what our algorithms are learning from. And this is worldwide. About 1/3 of this is in the United States. And after it learns, we ask it some basic questions. Is this candidate likely to change jobs now? Is this candidate a star performer? Does he or she doing better than others? And all of this without us reading the resume. We are asking the machine, can you tell us something about this candidate? Is this candidate a fast learner? We have some skills gap between this person and the job description that we have. But is this person a fast learner? So maybe we fill the position and then this person learns. And then more, if this person takes the job, how long is he or she going to stay in that job? Right? So we have a whole bunch of questions we are asking this machine, and it is giving us some pretty good answers, given that we have put in pretty much the entire world's resume database into it. So what does that mean? What it means is that for us in the recruiting field, we have an artificial intelligence tool. So just like Google is for search, and IBM Blue is for chess, and Tesla and Google are doing for cars, we now have Search and Recruit for recruiting. So that's the technology piece. Then now switching gears, okay, we got technology, then what, right? It's not enough. We need to have the human touch. We use the intelligence from Search and Recruit, but then we need to do more to get the candidate to respond to us. And this is basic sales. You can call it sales, or basic, simple, common sense, which is you show interest in a candidate, significant interest in candidate and invest in them, and they will show interest in you, the recruiter. We're not talking about the job yet. We're just talking about the relationship between you and the candidate. And what can we do there? How can we show more interest? And this is where it gets interesting, is that there are new tools available. It used to be a phone several decades ago. Then it was emails, so emails and phones, and now we have social media. We have means through which we can express our interest in a candidate. By combining the emails and the phone and the social media together in a systematic way over a sustained period of time, we can show significant interest in a candidate that will get them to show interest in us and whatever job we have in our hand. At the end of the day, the candidate has to trust us for the job we bring in, and it's a relationship over the long term that plays off. I'm sure you know that. So the question is, how do we leverage these channels, additional channels, and what do we need to do? And that's covered in the 4 steps. So with that, I'll explain the 4 steps here. Step 1 has to do with the AI, the artificial intelligence, which will help us search for candidates, great candidates, star-performing candidates, fast-learning candidates, candidates who are thinking about changing jobs. So instead of searching and getting thousands of results, we will be very focused, and typically it comes down to 15% of the result set that we should focus on and target first. Step 2 is send them emails, right? You probably are doing that today, but the difference is track those emails, which is make sure when the candidate opens that email, when the candidate clicks on that link in that email, you call them immediately. That is expressing interest and showing initiative, right? So that's step 2. Step 3 is, well, they have sent an email, nothing happened, or you called, or not, you left a voicemail. But over a period of time, you could show interest to social media. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on Twitter, retweet them, like their tweets, like their posts on Facebook, add them to your social circles on Google+. You can do a bunch of things to express your interest in them. And then step 4 is iterate your messaging, your email messaging, your social media messaging. Iterate on that and go back to step 1 and keep doing that. And once you do that over a sustained period of time, you will see these candidates respond back. So with that, I'll just take a quick pause to see if there are any questions. This is all the theory part we covered, and we'll be going into the actual practical implementation of these 4 steps. Would love to see if there are any questions on this before I go forward. Pause for a minute. Okay, no questions. Going forward then, so what is step 1? AI-based search. So we are searching for, we do a regular search just like we would do on Monster or LinkedIn or any other place, which is you search by skills, by location, by titles, and any other keywords. But then you would narrow the search down by adding additional criteria like, hey, are these candidates likely to change jobs? So you reduce the results. And then you can also further reduce the results by saying, are these candidates star performers? Are they early adopters? Get more criteria in there. So this is what the screens look like, and we will go through the demo again. So you would search, you'll select search, and you can enter the titles and the skills, the location, the seniority you need. Are you looking for a VP level person, a director? And those are all the regular ones that you see. And then the ones that are highlighted here are the new criteria, which is the AI-based star performer, fast learner, likely to read. So let the machine read the resumes and do the first level of screening for us. Then step 2 is sending the emails, and then, but what's important is make sure we are tracking those emails. And here you would get a text message, an SMS message, email whenever that email is opened, and then you are expected to follow up. So here's an example where after you send an email, you would see the status as has it been opened, has there been a click, is there a reply, and any of these can trigger a text message. So if you're out on the road or you left work, but the candidate checks in at 7 p.m. and they open the email, you would get a text notification. And sometimes we would also give you the phone number of their office. So if it is during the day, you could call them right away, or leave a voicemail if it is in the evening. Now, step 3 is the interesting one, which is social media. How do you make sure that the candidate remembers your name? And one great way to do that is to be active on social media. So if you see on the left side, it is LinkedIn. Anybody visits a LinkedIn page, you probably know that that you can they can see your name if you visit their LinkedIn profile. If you follow somebody on Twitter, they get to see your name again. And if you like a post, or if you follow them on Facebook, you can get the same notifications. The point is that they would see your name again and again. As a result, you will end up building up your brand reputation with that candidate, and the next time your name shows up, in an email or a phone conversation, they will remember, and it's a way to build the trust by showing more interest. Now, there is an easy way to automate the process, and one thing is, of course, do not do all of these on the same day. Then it would appear like stalking. It's best to do one every day, so it looks like you are showing interest over a sustained period of time, which has a much more positive effect. So one way to do that is to follow the instructions provided under the social engagement tab, where you can see after an email is sent, a set of tasks are scheduled, like LinkedIn comment. On the 12th of September, go and comment on their LinkedIn post. On the following day, 13th, go and like one of their posts, or do a Google Plus follow on the next day. So for each candidate, a task is scheduled every day, and you can just follow the steps here. So you don't have to worry about keeping track of what you did on which candidate when. So this is going to be easier. And then the last step is iterating on A/B testing of the messages. So this is where you would see, you can create email templates. You can see for each job, you can create multiple email templates and see which subject line is resonating. So you can see the open rates. You had sent, like, say, 50 emails or 100 emails. What is the open rate on those emails for that subject line? For the content within that email, what is the click-through rate? So you can do an A/B testing to see which of your messages is resonating, and you can improve on the content and the subject line of your email, so you can get better responses. And then with that, I just want to recap the 4 steps. Step 1, search, but be smart with about the search, and focus on candidates who are likely to change jobs. Step 2, send emails, but track those emails and call the candidate if you see activity on your emails. Typically, there is a 25% increase in engagement if you call a candidate. Not many, 95% of recruiters do not call, but if you do, there is a 25% increase in chances of them accepting the interview. Then follow on social media. This typically has a much larger impact. And then, like, if you follow a candidate over a 20-day period, the chances of them accepting an interview almost doubles. And then step 4 is improving your messaging, so you can get more candidates. You can be more effective in your targeting. So with that, we will take another quick short break to see if there are any questions, and then we'll go into the actual demo of the app itself. You can type in the question on the right side chat if you have any. Otherwise, we can proceed into the demo. Right, no questions. Okay, so here's a use case we have. We're hiring for a Salesforce.com expert in San Francisco for one of our startups. And now let's switch gears and go to a different screen. Okay, you are watching the app on Search and Recruit. So the way to get to this app is very simply, if you have signed up already, that's great. If not, you can go to searchandrecruit.com and then you can sign in. Here you have an option to create an account. This is a free account, does not require a credit card. With a free account, you will be able to send 100 emails to candidates that you find at no cost, and then after that you need to sign up for the paid engagement, the paid account. So I'm going to log into my enterprise account, which gives me a good number of credits. Here you can see there are 900 credits. One credit results in one email that is successfully delivered. So you get to use credits only when you send emails. The search is free. Finding the candidates is free. It's only when you send emails is when you end up consuming the credits. So going back to our job, a Salesforce expert. So we say show us all the candidates with Salesforce experience in San Francisco. And let's say we're looking for 4 to 6 years of experience, right? And let's just run this search, right? So if we were to search this on any other system or with us, you get about 2,925 results. That's how many candidates we have with a job experience of 4 to 6 years in San Francisco with that skill, Salesforce.com. Now, obviously, so let's just look at a few of the candidates here. So we have Brendan Wong. We have people with different titles, and then you can see here on the right side, likely to leave. So Brendan is a long timer. Sebastian Mook is probably likely to leave. And then we have Brianna Smikowski, likely to stay because she's probably in the middle of a project. And then you can see long timers. Long timers, a little bit difficult to get them because they're probably settled in, and it takes more convincing for them to leave the job. So we'll focus on likely to leave. So this is where we talk about increasing our focus and being smart about the search. Is now select likely to leave, and then if you search, the search results gets narrowed down typically to about 15%. So now we have 392 candidates to focus on. So from 2,900 odd candidates, we've got down to 392 candidates. So these are candidates that are predicted to leave in the immediate future, and the ones that we should focus on. Now, we can further narrow the results down to saying, show me only candidates that are, so that are star performers. So let's see, to 392, let's just focus only on star performing candidates. Star performing candidates are ones that we think have done very well in the past. So either they've been to good schools, have worked for big companies, good companies, have demonstrated a great traction in their career, or have worked on cool projects. So we also know what they work on, what kind of projects they work on. So let's look at, so now we are down to 12. So 12 candidates are star performers who are likely to leave, and these are the ones we should look at. And you can see there are people at Marketo, Box, Skycure. These are all companies that are interesting. So let's just pick, let's say, pick the first one, Arash Yasavolian. Arash Yasawalian. Arash Yasawalian is an architect, solutions architect at Marketo. He's had about 5 years of experience, so we said 4 to 5. And then let's see, we have emails. So we can contact Arash at his Marketo email or his Gmail. Let's suggest we go for the Gmail. And then we can select a template. The template is something we need to create for Salesforce opportunity. So we could just say something about if I am trying to hire him. I'll say this is using my own Salesforce background. I could pick a template. You can see when you pick a template, it fills in the content of the your email along with it fills the name as well. Right, so it takes care of that. Or you can pick another template that looks like this. So the email typically has the content and a link, and then this is ready to go. So if you hit the send button, Arash would get an email from me. That is my account. There are a few more things I want to show you here that are interesting. One, you can always look at the LinkedIn account of Arash. So that LinkedIn icon, if you click it, this is him. And then the next one is Facebook. So this is Arash's Facebook account. And then there is Google Plus. So we don't have Arash's Twitter account, but you can always add. If you have any notes, you can add notes here. If you find Arash's Twitter account, it could be, at Arash. If you, let's say you find it, and you can keep that handy. So those are some of the things that you could do. Of course, you can mouse over and see a quick peek at his resume. What are the things that he has done before you send the email? So until this point, there is no cost. It's only when you start hit the send button is when 1 credit gets charged. Before you hit the send button, there is also a little bit more information. We say response likelihood slightly less than average. So if the average response rate is X, Arash is going to be probably a little bit less than average in his likelihood of responding. So typically, when you have lower response likelihood, you want to really personalize the email and then put a little bit more effort here, not just a cookie cutter template, but you want to say why Arash should look at this job, and kind of customize your offering or your position to him and his background. If the response likelihood is very low. If that response likelihood is really good, a template should just do fine, and you can move forward with the send. You can also ask for recommendations, like you hit this review button here. The system will give you some feedback in terms of how you can improve the email. It says subject line should not be more than 3 words. Typically, if the subject line goes down to 3 words, or in the case intro or introduction, sometimes we have seen up to 80% open rate with just 1 subject line. So if you want to use introduction, that could be something you want to try. Then the other thing you want to say is, why should the candidate respond to the email now? So the template I had nothing to do with time. There is no immediacy. So if you're working with a company that is pre-IPO, or there is an urgent need, or something that you can mention that is sensitive, that if the candidate does not respond now, they're losing a great opportunity. It's important to mention that. So the system picked up that the email does not have any time mentioned. And then sometimes there are trigger, spam words, and they get triggered. Like, for example, if you see free or promotions and things like that, that can get caught in the spam filter. So it would recommend that as well. So anyway, that's just interim feedback, and then you can hit the send button. So we're not going to send the email to Arash because he'll be surprised why I'm contacting him now. But what happens is, after you send the email, if the candidate opens the email, or they click on the link in the email, you would get notifications on your cell phone. And then if you have a phone number, then you can call that candidate. So that's like being being more on top of it. For example, Sundar Venkatraman, I had sent him an email. He was at a conference recently, so I just sent him a note. And we know that after the conference he clicked. So this is just a different use case. But anyway, so you can see the status here as well. But if you should configure your cell phone to get the SMS messages. So that's part 2. Part 3 is after you send an email, a task is automatically scheduled for you. So for example, here it says Matthew Chandler. I had reached out to Matthew some time ago, and it had scheduled a task for me. The task is go visit their LinkedIn page. So if you look at Matthew's profile, and this is the email I had sent to Matthew about an opportunity, and then these are the notes. So you can see what was the history. So I had sent an email, and then I'm scheduled to do a LinkedIn page visit. So what you would do is just follow the instruction here, and click on the LinkedIn page visit. So automatically, you don't have to look for or hunt for the LinkedIn ID. It actually takes you, lands you right there on the LinkedIn page. So you're done. You can just complete. This task is complete now. So like that, you can continue going down, and it has a whole bunch of other tasks that it schedules following this. Now, given Matthew has all the social media, so there will be about 20 different tasks that it can schedule. So the next one it schedules is Twitter follow. It's saying do the Twitter follow, but do it tomorrow. Don't do it today, because if you do it today, it will look like stalking. So you want to do it one every day. So LinkedIn page visit is completed. The next task is Twitter follow. That's what's scheduled for tomorrow. So so it goes in a sequence, and it is over a period of 20 days. Matthew will know your first name and know that you're a recruiter. You had sent an email, and you're showing interest, right? It's psychologically, Matthew is going to be obligated to respond in a nice way, and then you can have a conversation. Hey, Matthew, what are you looking for? What can we do to help you? And if not this position, maybe the next one, right? It's about building the relationship. And then the fourth step is the email templates. The email templates are you can create a new template. You can always type in a subject line and a content, and then you can see how many emails have been delivered for that template, what's the open rate been. So AI predicts your new job. It seems to work. People are curious, and this is probably a test one. Ignore that. But then so this is another one. We send only 54, but that's another subject line that has a great open rate. And then there are some that have a very good click-through rate, right? So it depends on the content. So positions at Search and Recruit, I've been using it for demo, but there are others like account exec for Search and Recruit. So we are using this for our own recruiting, partly testing and using our system for our own recruiting. So you will see some of our job postings as well. So that's step 4. And you can iterate on this. You can create different subject lines, different content to make sure your open rates and click-through rates are increasing. And then the other point I wanted to make is that when you send an email, it will go from you. There is no interim branding. There is no Search and Recruit, nothing. It'll go as if the email went from your mailbox to them, and when they reply, the reply comes to you. We are not in the loop. If the candidate responds, you get the reply, and you can manage a relationship from there on. Our job is to get the candidate to respond to you, and once we are done, we go back and keep working on all these other technologies to continue to increase the candidate respond back to you. That's our offering, which is the AI technology. With that, we have covered a majority of the demo, and in the interest of time, I would like to take the questions, and I have some questions. So the first question is, where are you getting the resumes? Yes, the good question. So we are any resume that's out there in the public cloud. Um, we are so those are being collected, are being crawled. So that's one source. And then, so the short answer is there are 20 different sources, roughly 20 sources we have, and we get the resumes from. Half of them are publicly available sources. These are, sites like Indeed, and we also crawl Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus. These are all public sites, and LinkedIn as well, the public side of LinkedIn. And then we also have partnerships with private businesses, private data sets, and we get those as well, and then we combine it. So that's the source of our resume. We continue to increase our data sets. Different countries have different places where the resumes, you get more resumes. So for the US, it is predominantly the ones that I mentioned, as well as some private ones that we have partnerships with, and we get resumes from them as well. Then the next question is your tool for your existing database? I'm assuming you're saying existing databases. If you have a database of resumes, will our tool work on that? So we have some use cases of doing that. It's not a self-service app. We have to do it on the back end, which is we need to apply our algorithms on your data set as a custom project. We have done a couple of them so far, but they have to be a custom engagement based upon what you have in your database and what you're looking to do in the output of that. So we can talk offline if you want to discuss that and get more into the details. The next question from Amy is, can you repeat the name of the website? Okay, so I will just type it up here. Searchandrecruit.com, and as in Nancy. So we are searching and we are recruiting. So it is searchandrecruit.com, where you can go and sign up, and you can get 100 credits. So go fire away and get 100 candidates. While we are on that, I want to show you one cool trick where you can send a lot of emails very quickly instead of doing one at a time. So let us say we got all this, go back to the demo here, and let me make sure you can see my screen. Yeah, great. So here, let's say we go to these 12 candidates, and I want to send emails to all these 12 candidates. The best way to do that is pick your template, and then here under send email, you have send email option. So let's do it. I'll show you a quick preview. You don't have to do it for all candidates, but if you do that, look at the preview. It says he took the template and created hi Arash, right? And then you see the preview for the next guy. It says hi Rachel, actually that's girl. And then Oksana, it says hi Oksana. So we got all of these candidates, and what we could do is, if you just hit the send button, and then the send button, and then the send button for the third guy. So if we do that in 12 of them, we can go through 12 of them in probably 30 seconds. So in 30 seconds, you'll be done. You can be done sending 12 emails. So you don't have to open and study and look at every one of these resumes. If you feel comfortable with the titles that you see, and then confident about the star rating and they look good, then you can just go for it, right? So that's a quick way of sending more emails to your narrowed down search. Now, then the next question is, for existing users, what are their email response rates? What are their success rates, that is emails to placements? So we haven't yet tracked an emails to placements. We know that our recruiters are placing these candidates because we have recruiters using this since since October of last year. So we're coming to close to 12 months of continuous use. So I'm assuming they're placing, that is why they're continuing to use. The numbers that we do have, some numbers we have is the number of interviews scheduled. It is ranging anywhere from 2 to 4 times. So, so if a candidate, if a recruiter was placing, creating, one interview a week, if they're able to bring in one candidate per week for interviews, we are seeing some of them being able to do two candidates to bring in for interviews, and some are bringing in 4 per week. So they're able to. That's the range in which we are seeing improvements in getting candidates to respond and accept interviews. So that's the number we have. It's a range, and that depends upon how aggressive the recruiters are. So some of our recruiters, they are very diligent and follow through and make a phone call. And as I had mentioned, a phone call will get you a 25% chance or improvement. So they do the phone call and the social. So together, that's how they're able to increase the total number of responses to maybe sometimes 4 times what they were doing before. And some people are just using the emails, and that's typically gets them 2 times what they have been doing. Can you load the resumes into your existing database? We don't have the self-service option to load the resumes. If you know the name of the candidate, you can search for that candidate and you can put them into your list. So there is another search function which I skipped, which has search by name. So we can search for a candidate, somebody whose name you know. So here you can see this is me, and that is me, and then here's the history of all the communications that I've had. Small digression, but what you could do is there is a way by which you can mark a candidate and put them into a list. So our database in the United States is about 98.5 million. We believe that we have almost 90% of the candidates of interest to you. So so the resume that you have may be matching with the candidate that we have in our database. So it's a pretty comprehensive database, and it's only growing. So we should be able to find your candidates. Typically, that's how some of the other recruiters are using it. Is they know the name of the candidate, they find the candidate either on Indeed or Monster or LinkedIn or anywhere. They know the name. They just come and type the name and send the email through our platform. That's a very simple use case. If you know the name, search for the candidate and send an email and get done with it. So in that situation, you do not need to load the resume if you are just using the functionality, because if that resume was publicly available, we probably have already crawled it and have a copy of it on our side. 90% of the times. So we are getting there eventually. Our goal is to get to 100% of all publicly available resumes, but that's a moving target. So hopefully we'll get better than 90% next year. Okay, so with that, we have no more questions coming in. I'll pause for a couple of more minutes to see if you have any questions. If you would like to do a personal tour one-on-one, so we can take some of your open job recs right now and do this more of a workshop style, so we can take your job rec and together work on it. And find some candidates and send some emails and do that together. Happy to do that. I'll send you the link to schedule time. Search and recruit, and yes. So this is the Calendly. Calendly.com site, where my calendar is available. So if you are interested in doing a live session with one of your job openings, happy to spend some time and do it hands-on. So we can send some emails and walk through the opens and click-throughs and your SMS, things like that. Oh yeah, the fee schedule. The next question, Joanne, is what does it cost? So you get 100 credits to start with, no charge, and once you are done using those 100 credits, which is charged only when we are successfully delivered. So what we mean by that is, if there is a bounce, sometimes the emails bounce. What happens is when an email bounces, we go into multiple delivery mode. So for example, some candidates will have multiple emails. Let me just go back to the search so I can show you. For example, this is me, and just a second. And these are all the emails that I have. So we start with probably the university email, and then if it bounces, then the system automatically goes to the next email, and if that bounces, it keeps doing that. Or it will take care of bouncing and trying to deliver it to the next alternative email. If ultimately we fail and the email never gets delivered, there is no charge. The credit gets back into your account. It's only when the email is successfully delivered and we have you will get a delivery notification as well. It's only when that happens you would get charged. Now, if once you're done using your credits, you can upgrade to a professional. This is our most popular one. Professional edition will get you 100 credits, so you can send 100 emails for $100 a month. So it ends up being roughly $1 per email, and with that you get unlimited searches, unlimited profile views, and we have a bunch of other features like recommended profiles, and we will get into all of that in later. SMS notifications, and then we also have another functionality, which is a mass email functionality. It is limited. I will show that to you in a second. And of course, you get support, chat and email support. But the net of it is roughly boils down to be about $1 per email that is successfully delivered to a candidate, in addition to all the functionality. Right. And then right. So if you go over the credits, then additional charges are, if you go over 100 at times, you might have an open job rec, and you need to really crank it up. It costs $2 for every additional email, and if you are really going into larger numbers, we should probably talk a bigger agreement where we can provide you discounts under an ELA that is yearly payment. These are just monthly payments. $100 is your monthly payments. But if you're finding value and you're sending a lot of emails, and a large number of your colleagues are also involved, then we can discuss an ELA, which will get you a much lower price, solution. One other thing I did want to mention was that this tool can be used by all your colleagues and together. And if any one of them sends an email, it will show up in the system. So it will caution you that there was an activity before you engage a candidate. If any one of your colleagues engages the candidate by email, or they have done something on social media, then you get a notification in the history section where you can say who from your company, here's a domain, who from your company engaged with that candidate, when, what happened, what email did they send, was the email viewed, was the link clicked, on what date, or what was the activity of that date, and you would see all the history. So you're not stepping on each other's toes if you're both working on similar open recs, or or if they had contacted a candidate and then they want to continue that, or maybe they can help you with an introduction since they already have a relationship there. So you can see some of that in the historical activity. Great. We have a few more minutes before the end of the call. We have another 10 more minutes. If you have any questions, you can type it up in the chat window. I'm going to be around for another few minutes, and if not, we can wrap it up. Okay. Looks like there are no more questions. Thank you very much for joining this webinar on the 4 steps to get great candidates to respond to you. I hope this was useful. I would love to get any feedback you have for me. I'm going to add my email here, and then if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. Do try the free trial. You will get chat support on that if you have any questions, or let us know, and we can also schedule a time to work on one of your recs with you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.